and welcome back to my channel. So this is the July book review video. Sadly I've only read 4 books, so I am 4 books behind with my reading challenge now because I only read 4 books in July. But I do have a reason. I was ill and I still am ill. I have had a really sore throat for like basically the whole of July, and it keeps me up at night, so I'm not sleeping very well, and I can't get the energy to read. I sit there and I try and I just can't. I can't focus on pages because I'm just so tired, and even now, like I said, I've still got a really bad throat and it really hurts, and it's just it's annoying me, it's draining me. So we've only read 4 books, and to be fair, 3 of them are very thin as well, so I am very disappointed with myself, but hopefully that means this video will be quite a short video. So the first one I read was The Saga of Darren Shan, Killers of the Dawn. This is book 9. So on the back it says, the war of scars is raging and there's nowhere safe. I may be a vampire prince, but I'm also public enemy #1, persuaded by the Vampinese vigilante mobs and the police. Soon there'll be nowhere left to run. Dun dun dun. So what happens? They get arrested, which was a trap like designed by Steve, who was his best friend when he was in the very first book, and now hates him because he wanted to be a vampire, but instead Darren became the vampire. They escape due to a vampit help. One of like the vampit, they call them vampets because they're humans but they support the Vampinese. He helped them escape from the police. There's a big battle with the Vampinese lord, and they believe they kill him. So they think they've killed the Vampinese lord, but then Steve ends up killing Crepsley, who is like Darren's master, like because Darren's his assistant, and he's the one that's like turned Darren into a half vampire anyway. So they kill Crepsley, dies, and there is a huge twist at the end though, and I'm not going to tell you all just in case you guys that decide to ever read it, but there was a really big twist at it, and it did make me think, what? And I did get a little bit upset when Crepsley died because I enjoyed his character. So that's that one. I think, let's rate these because I haven't got many. I will say this was probably about a 4 out of 5. I quite enjoyed that one. So the next one I read was book 10, which is Darren Shan, The Lake of Souls, Fish for the Dead. So, a terrifying new world and a deadly new challenge for Darren Shan, the Vampire Prince. Darren and Harket face monstrous obstacles on a desperate quest to the Lake of Souls. Will they survive their savage journey? And what awaits them in the murky waters of the dead? Be careful what you fish for. So, Mr. Tiny is kind of like the demon, and of all demons, he just like messes up with the world now. He sends them on this quest to this other world because Harket wants to learn who he was before he became a little person, which is what he's classed as, a little person. They're kind of like monster creatures that have died and then come back, but they don't remember what they were before they died. And they have to defeat different things. They have to kill a panther to get to the next stage. They have to deal with a big gigantic toad to get on the next stage. Then you have to deal with something called a grotesque, which is kind of like a worm human. It sounds really gross, and they actually detail it really well that I could picture it in my head, but it's not something you'd want to like face. And then they had to face dragons, a family of dragons. They managed to do that though, and they all learn that at the end of it they actually learn that Harker was a vampire, and he was a certain vampire. He was a vampire that betrayed all the other vampires and Darren in one of the other books previously on. And the thing was, Mr. Tiny then brought him back as a little person from the future and made him, and then sent him back to the past as a little person to help Darren to kind of like mend what he ruined in a way, and to support Darren because Mr. Tiny has like believes in Darren basically and wants to help him. But there was a little twist again, because then you had this vampire like appeared, but then the little person was still there, and they can't be there at the same time because one's from the future and one's from the past kind of thing. So they had to decide which one was going to go back with Darren, and in the end the vampire sacrificed himself so that the Harket could go, the little person version could go back to future instead. It's very like back to the present. I mean, it's very weird, very complicated. It's hard to explain, but it was a really good book, and I think I'd give that maybe even a 4 or a 0.5 out of 5. I believe I quite enjoyed that one. So this one, my sister actually chose for me from the charity shop. It's called The Secret Lives of Dresses. Now, I was a bit like, but then I read the blurb and I was like, okay, it sounds like the sort of book I'd read, and I actually did really enjoy it, so I'll read you a blurb. So it says, Dora is in love with a man who barely notices her, has a job she doesn't care about, and dresses entirely for comfort and not style. All a far cry from her vivid childhood growing up with her beloved grandmother Mimi. However, when disaster strikes, Dora knows she has no choice but to return to her childhood home and take over running Mimi's vintage clothing shop. And there she makes a surprising discovery. Mimi's been writing stories to accompany every dress she sells, romantic, heartbreaking tales about each one's secret lives before it got to her shop. Dora starts to matchmake these lonely frocks with new owners, but will the stories help her as well? Trading her boring high street clothes for vintage glamour is one thing. What she needs to know is whatever she can trade for her safe old life and love for something better too. So, Dora's nan, Mimi, has a stroke and becomes really ill, so Dora goes to where she went to the hospital and looks after her and takes over running the vintage shop while she was waiting to find out what happens with her nan. Unfortunately, her nan does pass away and Dora refuses to let go of the shop. She ends up meeting a builder who's working like above her. I need to cough. Ugh, I hate coughing. So she actually falls in love with a builder that's working above the shop called Con, or Conrad. I think it's Conrad. Con anyway. He calls himself Con anyway. And yeah, she starts then wearing the vintage clothes that her nan used to put aside for her, the vintage dresses. And one day she finds that one of it's got a letter in the pocket and it's got a story. And then customers, when they buy dresses, start saying, "Has this got a story?" And she learns about them all. She ends up reading all the stories and discovers a lot about who she is as a person, what she wants as a person, what she enjoys, what makes her happy, the type of guy she wants to be with. Con, obviously, and it's really nice really because it's not just got the romance, which I absolutely love, but there's a lot about this lady finding who she is and finding what she's meant to be doing and finding something that makes her feel comfortable, because she never felt really comfortable in her clothes. She just wore them because they're clothes, but then she started to become more the clothes helped to come out of her shell, and then all these secret stories helped to learn about her gran and other things as well. It's really good and it's a really sweet story and I really enjoyed it. So if you like romancy kind of life books in a way, I guess it could be a life book, so it's about finding yourself, I don't really know. I recommend it. I give this a 5 out of 5. I loved it. And then the last one I read is another Darren Shan, and it's Darren Shan, Lord of the Shadows, book 11. So it says, Darren Shan is going home, and his world is going to hell. Old enemies away, scores must be settled. Destiny looks certain to destroy him, and the world is set to fall to the ruler of the night. So he goes back to his hometown where it all began. It turns out that Steve has got a child, and there is a twist at the end. He finds out that Steve's child is actually his sister's child as well. So his younger sister had a child with Steve, and yeah. Debbie and Alice return because they were helping him in book, was it book 9 I think it was, yeah. In book 9 Debbie and Alice were helping him, and then in book 10 they left to go to Vampire Mountain, and then 5 years later kind of thing they return, and they're now recruiting humans to help battle the vampires. But yeah, so they're back and they're recruiting. Lots goes down. One of Darren's old friends from school gets killed by Steve. Steve kidnaps Darren's snake's friend, because Darren had a friend which was a snake boy who's now a snake man, and he actually has kids, and he kidnapped one of the kids and killed him in front of them all. And then Darren was going to kill Steve's son at the end, which was because he killed their son, so he'll kill a kid to make it show they're being serious or something. I don't really know. But that's when he finds out that the son is also his sister's son, so it's his nephew, and that's when it just ends at that, basically. It literally ends, where is it? Shan. Annie Shan, what about you? You see, Darren, if you kill Darius, you won't just be slaughtering my son, you'll be murdering your nephew. And it just ends at that. So I've got one more book to read, and then I'll finish the whole series. I know it's taken me months to do it, but I'm getting there. But I don't know, I quite enjoyed this one, but I didn't enjoy it as good as the others, so I think I'd give this one a 3.5 out of 5. It wasn't the best, but yeah. So there you go, that is all I read. Not much. I am in the middle of reading a fairy tale kind of one, but I've been reading that for 2 weeks now. I'm only 4 chapters in because I can't focus. However, I'm really hoping in August I will properly read and get down and read loads of books and catch up a bit, because I am quite behind. I think I'm on said I'm 4 books behind already for this month. I was behind anyway, so I think I'm about 6, maybe even 8 books behind being on my track for my 104 book challenge that I set myself. So we'll see. Alright, but that's everything. If there's any books that you recommend me read, let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I put videos twice a week, Wednesdays and Sundays. And that's everything I've got to say. So thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great morning, afternoon, evening, whatever the time it is. I hope you're happy and smiling, because that's the most important thing. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!